welcome back to my channel. So today I'm going to be showing you guys my current foundation routine, and by no means am I an expert, and I know that I probably have tons to improve on, but these are just some of the things that have been working for me lately and some of the things that I have learned over the years. And obviously everybody's skin is different. Something is going to work for me and probably not work for somebody else. So if what you're doing is working right now, by all means go for it. But I just wanted to share some of the things that have worked for me in case anybody is curious. I feel like I actually ended up using a mixture of high-end and drugstore products because I really wanted to make this more of like my high-end foundation routine and then do a separate one for a drugstore, but I've just been loving so many drugstore products lately. The majority of these things did end up being drugstore, but if you guys do want a full foundation routine that is strictly drugstore, then I can definitely do that for you guys as well. Just let me know down below and give this video a thumbs up. So before we get into this video, if you guys like me and you like my channel, please don't forget to give this video a thumbs up and subscribe. I would love to have you guys here. So without further ado, if you guys want to see my current foundation routine, then please keep watching. Okay, so firstly, before we get into this video, I want to acknowledge two things. The first thing is that I'm peeling really bad on my shoulders, and you could see it in my last video, but it's starting to get a little bit worse. So I know there's probably gonna be a comment like, why are your shoulders like peeling in different colors? The second thing is that I absolutely hate when my hair is in a bun, but I figured this video would be easiest for you guys to see and like work around if I didn't have my hair in my face, and that like if it was like up and back, so I have like every single inch of my face to work on. But now that all of that's out of the way, I'm gonna start out with the first thing that is absolutely crucial to your foundation routine, and that is having a clean face. Anytime before I start my makeup or anytime before I film a video, I always exfoliate my face. I personally use a Clarisonic. I know that they have like a Vanity Planet brush, which is a lot cheaper than a Clarisonic, but personally I love my Clarisonic, and that is what I use every time before I start a video or doing my makeup to wash my face. You will noticeably see a difference in the end result and finish of your foundation. And then after I wash my face, I always make sure to moisturize. Even if you have oily or dry skin, you still want to moisturize. I know that if you have oily skin, you're probably wondering like, why would you add more moisture to your skin if it's already oily? However, your skin is actually making up for the oils that you don't already have on your face. So if you're not applying a moisturizer, your skin is going to like overcompensate for the oil, and your skin is going to be even more oily because your skin isn't moisturized. So there's plenty of different moisturizers you can get. You can get like matte moisturizers, which will moisturize your skin but not leave you with like a greasy, shiny texture on your skin. And then this is the one I personally use. This is just the Tatcha Supple Moisture Silk Cream, and I really feel like it makes my skin super moisturized and it sinks in super quickly. So the next step of my foundation is picking a primer that is right for you. There's ones for brightening, hydrating, mattifying, pore minimizing. There's so many different kinds of primers out there, and I guarantee you will find the perfect one for your skin type. So I'm going to show you guys 3 primers that have different purposes that I personally love. This is a sample size. I've never bought the full size of this product, however I do really like it. Not as much as I do these two, but this is a great pore minimizing primer. This is the Porefessional. And then this one right here is the Becca Backlight Priming Filter. This is definitely a brightening and dewy finish primer. If you put this underneath your foundation, you will be glowing from within. And then lastly, I have the Too Faced Hangover Primer, which is my personal favorite. It is a hydrating primer, and I have combination skin, so I kind of have leeway with whatever primer I want to use. But I really do like this one a lot. I feel like it doesn't leave my skin oily. It just makes me feel like I'm really hydrated throughout the day, and it makes my foundation go on really nicely and makes it last the whole day. So this is the primer I'm going to be going in with today. Always make sure your hands are clean as well before touching your face, because all the bacteria on your hands will definitely create some breakouts and pimples around your skin. So I'm just going to go ahead and move this in between my fingers, and I'm going to start to apply this to my face. I'm going to rub it in first, and then once I feel like it's starting to get tacky, I will start to tap it into my skin. Okay, if the lighting changed, it's because I totally forgot to put my light behind me. but luckily we're not too far into this video, so it's okay. So this is the point where I'm going to start to just tap the primer into my skin. And this is going to give it more of like a tacky feeling, so it's going to give the foundation something to stick to. So after you've applied your primer, this is where you're going to go in with your foundation. Again, this is where you will find a foundation that works well for your skin type. So first, just determine whether you have oily skin, combination skin, dry skin, and then go with what works best for you. So the Fit Me, for example, I know I said I'd be mentioning mainly high-end products, but I just want to use this as an example. This is a great foundation in all of the types that it has. This one is matte and poreless, which is more for normal to oily skin types. They also have more of a dewy finish one, but that one's obviously for more like normal to dry skin. And I've heard great things about the other one just as much as the matte and poreless. I actually want to try that one. And also go ahead and figure out what kind of foundation you're going for. Whether you want more of like a BB cream consistency, whether you want light coverage, medium, or heavy coverage. I personally don't like heavy coverage. If you love a heavy coverage, then totally go with that. But I personally like the lighter coverages, so this is by far my favorite high-end foundation. It is a little bit pricey, but I do think it's worth it because nothing compares to it now that I've tried it. This is just the Giorgio Armani Luminous Silk Foundation. My perfect shade in this foundation as of right now is 525. So before going in with your foundation, you definitely want to pick the tool that works best for you. I love beauty blenders to apply foundation a lot more than I like brushes. I've never really been a big fan of applying my foundation with a brush. However, if I absolutely have to, if it's a stick foundation or if it's a foundation that is meant for using a brush, these are the two brushes that I usually use. This one is the Sigma Flat Kabuki F80 brush, and I find that this brush just applies it so evenly. And then this one is the Morphe M439. This one obviously is a little bit more of a round top Kabuki brush, and this is one of Morphe's best sellers. And it is really nice, so if you don't feel like splurging and going for the Sigma brush, then I definitely do recommend the Morphe one right here. Now, these are the two beauty blenders that I use for my foundation and my concealer. Basically, if you guys didn't know, I just found out recently, beauty blenders, the color of them is actually meant for different things. So the white beauty blender, for example, is meant for like primers, moisturizers, BB creams, super lightweight consistencies. The pink one is made for, I'm pretty sure, around everything, concealer, foundation, everything. And then the black beauty blender is meant for heavier foundations, heavier concealers. It's even supposedly supposed to work for self-tanning, which I can't even imagine. It's basically just meant for super thick consistencies. So like I said, I like using a beauty blender, so I'm going to go in with my pink one. So I'm just going to go ahead and put 3 pumps on the back of my hand and put my finger into it, and I just like to kind of dot it all around my face. Sometimes I kind of just dip the beauty blender in there, but I find that if I go straight in with my beauty blender, it kind of uses up a lot more product. That's something that my friend Blaine has noticed as well. And it's just a lot easier to place it all around my face first and then just go in and blend it out with the beauty blender. I think I need to kind of take my earrings out for this too. So once this is dotted all around my face, I'm just going to go in and start to pounce this into my skin. One thing I recommend if you're using a beauty blender to blend in your foundation is to use more pouncing motions than dragging it and like rubbing it around. The beauty blender will definitely suck up the product and completely remove it off of your face if you're just smearing it around instead of patting it in. So definitely be sure to use pouncing motions, and don't be too heavy-handed either because it'll just suck the product right back up into the sponge. And then I personally like to take whatever's left and just drag it down to my neck. This matches me pretty well, but I still like to blend it down to my neck. So a huge mistake that I've made in the past is picking concealer that is too light for me. When you're picking one, you want to make sure it's only 1 to 2 shades lighter than your foundation shade and the shade of your skin, because if it's too light, it's going to look a little bit crazy. But personally, I love the Tarte Shape Tape Concealer. It took a while for this concealer to grow on me. I didn't really see the hype about it at first, but when I learned to kind of use it the best way that works for me, I've really learned to like it a lot. I'm in the shade Light Medium Honey. So personally, when I apply this concealer, it's super, super thick, so I've learned not to use a lot. Less is definitely more with this concealer. So I'm just going to kind of apply that much, which I know you're like, less is more, that's a shit ton, but not as much as I would usually put with other concealers. I would typically draw it out into a full triangle, but that is how much I'm going to use with this concealer because it's so thick. And then I'm going to take some on my forehead. So this concealer dries super fast, so I'm going to go in with my black beauty blender because this is a thicker consistency, and I'm going to blend this out first before I draw it anywhere else because it's gonna dry on me, and then I will conceal the rest of my face. And make sure your beauty blender is damp with this concealer as well, because if it's even just a little bit dry, I feel like it just doesn't blend. And I'm bringing it to the sides of my nose too because that's gonna help us when we contour our nose later. So once that is blended out, I'm gonna go ahead and put some on my chin, on the tip of my nose, and on the bridge of my nose. And I do it on the bridge of my nose in the shape of an exclamation point because that's gonna help with our nose contour. So I'm going to go in with my favorite translucent powder. This is the Laura Mercier translucent powder, which I'm running out of as well. I'm literally running out of everything all at once. And I'm just going to go ahead and set basically my entire face. I'm mainly going to focus around my under eyes, my forehead, my chin where I concealed. And then where I'm going to be powder contouring along my cheekbones, I'm also going to set that because I find that if I powder contour over my cream foundation, it kind of ends up a little bit patchy. And I also like to really focus this around my smile lines because I feel like they crack super easily. And I just like to pat that powder in. I don't let it sit. Okay, so while my face sets and bakes, I'm going to go in with my favorite bronzer at the moment. It is the Physicians Formula Butter Bronzer. I think I used it in every single video since I got it. And I'm just going to go ahead and take this onto my Morphe M523, and I like this brush a lot for contouring because it's super precise but still fluffy enough to where it blends out the contour. And I like to start my contour from the top of my ear and then stop it about midway right here. But one trick that I've learned is to sucken my cheeks like a fish and make like a fish face, and then you can basically see exactly where the hollows of your cheeks are and where you need to contour. So I'm just going to go ahead and do that. So I'm going to go ahead and take this up to the sides of my face and then up to my temples and on the corners of my forehead. And then I also just blend this into my hairline. And then I also like to take this down to my jawline. And I've been doing this super weird thing lately where I do like the double chin thing and then I contour right where it creases. I know it looks super ugly and weird, but it works for some weird reason, so then I'm going to go back into the powder and I'm going to tap in the excess underneath my eyes only. I feel like this just works the best and it helps my concealer not crease throughout the day. And then for the rest of the powder, I'm just going to go ahead and brush away the excess with my Morphe MB2. So I'm going to go in with my Morphe M210 brush and I'm going to use the same butter bronzer. And I'm not going to go into too much depth on how I contour my nose because, to be honest with you, I'm not completely comfortable with the way I do it yet. I feel like I haven't completely mastered it yet. So I'm just going to go ahead and fast forward through this part. So I'm just going to go ahead and bronze up my skin a little bit. I'm going to use my Morphe M527. And then I'm going to go in with this Wet n Wild Color Icon. This is in the shade Ticket to Brazil. And super, super lightly, I'm just going to dust this on my forehead just to give myself a little bit of color. So next is blush. This is the blush that I always use. It is the Benefit Dallas Box Blush. And it's just a super neutral blush. I feel like it just looks very natural. It looks almost more like a bronzer than a blush. So I'm going to be applying this with the Morphe MB4. I like angled brushes to apply my blush, but again, you can apply with whatever you like. And I like to smile when I do my blush because that way you can see the apples of your cheeks, but typically I don't like to take it directly on the tops of the apples of my cheeks because I feel like it looks a little bit like, bam, I have blush on my cheeks. So I kind of bring it down a little bit and then gradually drag it into my contour. Okay, so lastly for my face is obviously highlighter. So I personally like to apply it with a fan brush. This is the Morphe M310. You can also apply it with more of a packing brush like this. This is the Morphe M501. So I'm actually going to spray it with the Mario Badescu Rose Water Spray, and that'll just make your highlight a little bit more blinding. And then I'm going to go in with the Anastasia, Beverly Hills, and Nicole Guerriero palette. I think I'm going to mix these two, and I'm just going to put them on the high points of my cheeks. And then lately, whatever's been left on my brush, I'll take up onto my forehead and on my chin, and then I'll show you how I do my nose. So then for the highlight on my cupid's bow and my nose, and that I'll be later putting underneath my brow bone, I'm going to use the super tiny brush from Morphe. This is the Morphe M170-4, and I just like to make an exclamation point on my nose. And I feel like my nose contour is not complete until I put highlighter on my nose. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and do the rest of my eye makeup off camera and my lips. And then when I come back, I'll just show you guys how I finish off and set the look and how I make it last all day. Okay, so now I've completed all my makeup. So the last and final step for finishing off my face is picking a setting spray. Whether you want a matte finish or a hydrating finish, there's different setting sprays for that. The first thing a setting spray is going to do for you is it's going to lock everything into place so it lasts all day. The second thing that a setting spray will do for you is that it just kind of sinks all of the foundation into your skin, and it'll kind of melt away the powder to make it seem more like skin again. So I'm going to go in with the NYX Matte Finish Spray, and I'm just going to spray this all over my face, and then I'm going to go ahead and fan it out so everything is just locked right into place. So this is the end of my foundation routine. I hope some of you guys found this video helpful. Obviously, I am not a professional, but I just want to share some of the things that have worked for me. Also, I completely forgot to mention in my last video that we hit 3,000 subscribers on my channel. Thank you guys so much for 3,000. I love all of you guys so much, and I'm super grateful for anybody who's subscribed to my channel and watching my videos. And if you're not subscribed already, what are you doing? The subscribe button is down there, and you should definitely subscribe and join the family. So thank you guys so much for watching this video. I hope you guys enjoyed again, and I hope to see you guys next time.